Arsenal are interested in signing Eberechi Eze from Crystal Palace, but also retain interest in Rodrigo from Real Madrid. However, some reports do suggest that they can only sign one of the two. And in this discussion, or in this episode, we will be discussing who I think Arsenal should eventually sign. Is it Rodrigo or Eberechi Eze? One is 24, the other is 27. Welcome back to the Football Tribe UG channel. Robert Kesakos is your usual suspect. Thank you all to our admin community members. Thank you to all those that are watching our content. Thank you to all those that have subscribed. And I do implore you to please click like on this video and leave me a comment on your opinion in regards to the topic at hand. But also consider subscribing to the channel if you're a new member on the forum and help me go on this journey. So let's get right into it. For me, it's not an easy decision really to make if you're Arsenal or if you're just a well-wisher on who Arsenal should sign between Rodrigo and Eberechi Eze. But we will talk about the merits of signing both players and perhaps the demerits, if any. First of all, we'll start on the age comparison. Of course, Eberechi Eze is 27 years of age. Rodrigo is 24 years of age. That means if you were to consider giving them a five-year contract each, one being 24, after 5 years he will be 29, and Eberechi Eze at 27. After 5 years he will be 32 years of age. So when it comes to age, I think Rodrigo is the better age profile in regards to the kind of Arsenal the kind of players Arsenal have been signing over the years. And never mind that they've also brought in the likes of, they're bringing in Kepa Arrizabalaga 30, but he's a backup goalkeeper. They brought in the experience of Jorginho. They are trying to sign Christian Nogard, who is 31. So that notwithstanding, when you look at their overall majority signings, they're usually within that age profile of between 20 to 25, around there. So in terms of age profile, Rodrigo gets it. Then in terms of, dynamism, because we know Mikel Arteta loves a versatile player. He loves to sign a player who can play multiple positions. And Rodrigo can play across the entire front three, left wing, right wing, and center forward. Although he does not really love to play at the right wing, he prefers to play at the left wing. That's why he is having issues at Real Madrid, because at Real Madrid they do have Kylian Mbappe and Vinicius Jr., who already play at the left wing and prefer to play there. Then center forward, they are now shifting more towards Gonzalo Garcia at center forward under this new reign of Xabi Alonso. So he is capable of playing across the entire front three, but like I said, predominantly he prefers to play either on the left wing or as a center forward. So meaning if you are to bring him to push him to the right wing, then you will end up with the same problem or challenge that he is facing currently at Real Madrid. So maybe you get to rule out that one. Then on the side of Eberechi Eze, in Eberechi Eze, you have a player that can play on the left wing, at the right wing, but also as a number 10 behind the striker. Now, Rodrigo can also play that kind of position, but in this particular case, we are looking at Eberechi Eze as a profile kind of player similar to that of Martin Odegaard, offering Martin Odegaard the support, being the playmaker in a team, is good with breaking low blocks and things of that nature. Rodrigo as well, he's good with his feet, can dribble past players and all that thing. So it means when it comes to versatility, you cannot take away anything from both players. Then let's go to adaptability. Eberechi Eze has played at least 5 concrete Premier League seasons at Crystal Palace, because he did join them in August 2020 when he was joining them in an 18 million euro move from Queen's Park Rangers. So he has 5 seasons of acclimatization to the Premier League and possibly solidifying himself. And when you look at his numbers, there's been a bit of progress. And when you go to overall goal involvement, when it comes to goal squad and assists provided. While on the other side, with Rodrigo you will be dealing with an entirely new player, new to the Premier League, who has to adapt to the Premier League and also adapt to Arsenal's way of playing. That could take a bit of time. He could be an instant click, but also from what we've observed over the years, usually players coming in from Spain take a bit of time to sort of adapt to the Premier League, especially at Arsenal. I can give you examples. There have been some instant clicks like Santi Cazorla, like Alexis Sanchez, like Mesut Ozil. Those were instant clicks in my opinion. But also we've had the example of Mikel Merino last season. We've seen it with Thomas Partey. I think we saw it with Nacho Monreal. So players that have taken a bit of time to adapt, and players who eventually didn't really adapt to the Premier League ways of playing. You remember Dani Ceballos on loan. You remember Denis Suarez when he came to Arsenal on loan during the Unai Emery era, and things didn't work out. So with Rodrigo, you have the risk of waiting for the player to get himself adapted, to get himself acclimatized to the Premier League environment, and which could take a bit of time. Do you have that amount of time when you're really trying to win a major title like a Premier League, like a UEFA Champions League football? Like a UEFA Champions League title. I certainly do not think that time is really on your side. That's the downside when it comes to Rodrigo. So I think Eberechi gets the advantage over a Premier League adaptability because he's already been there for the past 5 seasons. Then let's consider about their goal involvements for the past 5 seasons. That's for both Rodrigo Goes and Eberechi Eze. For Rodrigo Goes, he's been at Real Madrid for the last 6 seasons. He did join them in 2019, and in his debut season, he made 19 appearances, scored only 2 goals. The subsequent season, that is 2020-2021, he made 22 appearances, scored 1 goal, and provided 6 assists. So you can see 2 goals. He climbs to 7, which is still low, but again, he was a very young player when he joined, Real Madrid. Then the season after that, which was 2021-2022, he made 33 appearances, scored 4 goals, and provided 4 assists. Again, an 8-goal involvement. That is a sign of slow progress because he went from 2 goals to a 7-goal involvement, 1 goal, 6 assists, and then he went to an 8-goal involvement. Yes, there is progress there, but it is a bit of slow progress. Then you look at a 2022-2023 campaign. That's when really things started to click for him at Real Madrid. Made 34 appearances, scored 9 goals, and provided 8 assists. That's a 17-goal involvement for the Brazilian international. And then the season after that, which was 2023-2024, when Real Madrid went on to win the Spanish Liga and the UEFA Champions League, he was really on a good standout player. Also, he managed to score 10 goals and provided 5 assists. That was a 15-goal involvement. So you can see there was a bit of decline in overall goal involvement from 17 to 15, but you could say that was quite negligible. Then last season, in 30 La Liga appearances, scored 6 goals and provided 5 assists. So overall, when you look, for me, I still think his numbers are low, but last season, again, where you could have had him progress is when you have Kylian Mbappe coming in, who prefers to play on the left, but also you have Vinicius Jr., so you had to play him as a center forward, and sometimes he never got those chances because the arrival of Kylian Mbappe really significantly shifted in the way Real Madrid went about their play. You saw them struggling to fit Kylian Mbappe, to fit Vinicius Jr., Rodrigo Goes, as well as Jude Bellingham in the same composition of team, and that's why we are having today reports that he could leave Real Madrid. In sheer comparison, on the other side, Eberechi Eze, in 2020-2021, which was his debut season with Crystal Palace, in 34 appearances, he scored 4 goals and provided 6 assists. That was a 10-goal involvement. Of course, that was on the backdrop of 14 goals scored in the championship and 8 assists that he had provided in the previous season at Queen's Park Rangers in the championship. Then the subsequent season in the Premier League, still at Crystal Palace, I think he struggled with injuries. He only made 13 appearances, scored 1 goal, provided 1 assist. And then the 2022-2023 season, played all 38 Premier League games, scored 10 goals and provided 4 assists. That was a 14-goal involvement. Then 2023-2024, he made 27 appearances, meaning he missed as many as 11 games that season. But he still managed to score 11 goals and provided 4 assists. So you can see an overall goal involvement of 15, which was a slight increase from the 14-goal involvement the season before that. And then last season, he managed to score 8 goals and provided 8 assists in 34 appearances, which was a good return on investment, equally with the 16-goal involvement. Of course, he also helped, Crystal Palace win the FA Cup. You remember he scored that only goal in the finals. They beat up against Man City by 1-0, and also in the semi-final, he did score a goal against Aston Villa, while Ismail Sarr, his counterpart, scored a brace in that game. So overall, when it comes to numbers posted, I do think that Eberechi Eze has the better numbers posted in this particular case. because last season alone, you look at his 16 goal involvement versus Rodrigo Goes's 11 goal involvement. But then usually statistics can equally also be deceiving in regards to players overall when it comes to their talent. I think talent-wise, Rodrigo is a much better player. When it comes to taking on players, I think Rodrigo could be a better player. But then when you factor in all the once you factor in all the different pieces or considerations that you have to make before you make a signing, I do think I'm inclined to believe that Eberechi Eze gets the advantage over Rodrigo Goes, not because Eberechi is a more talented player as compared to Rodrigo Goes, but because it is a combination of factors that includes, Premier League experience and adaptability, as well as his overall contribution. And then we've spoken about a support role, because when you sign Eberechi Eze, you then necessarily do not need to sign a number 10 or an attacking midfielder to help Martin Odegaard alongside Ethan Nwaneri. While when you sign Rodrigo Goes, while you can't still play across the entire front three, it only serves you from perhaps going into the market to sign 2 strikers and maybe another right winger, because you know that as when push comes to shove, then he can play on that right wing, even though it's against his personal preference. So for me, overall, I'm inclined to say that Arsenal are better off spending 60 million pounds plus 8 million pounds in expected add-ons to sign Eberechi Eze, as compared to signing Rodrigo Goes, who is valued at about 90 million euros, potentially rising to 100 million euros, when yes, you know what you're getting in a player like Rodrigo Goes, but then it will take him a bit of time to adapt to the Premier League. And then also, Arsenal have already, held exploratory talks with both Rodrigo's camp as well as Eberechi Eze, but they know what it requires to sign Eberechi Eze. The 60 million pound release clause can be paid in 3 installments. They know that 8 million pounds in expected add-ons. A player is supposed to get a commission. They know about his wages. They did hold, conversations with his representatives. That's Arsenal's key figures within the transfer business over the weekend. While for Rodrigo, they only made, inquiries, I think, back in May, and have not since, had much progress on that, because Rodrigo is still waiting to have a candid conversation with Xabi Alonso, the new Real Madrid head coach, and see where his future lies. But Real Madrid are open to letting go of any player as long as their value is met. So it wouldn't harm if Arsenal went in the transfer window and signed both Eberechi Eze and Rodrigo Goes, but that for me feels a little bit unlikely, considering that Arsenal are looking to spend also about 70 million euros, or perhaps slightly north of that, to secure themselves a much needed striker. So do let me know what your opinions are, what your views are on that comparison between Eberechi Eze and Rodrigo Goes. Who do you think Arsenal should sign? Do you think it should be Eberechi Eze, or do you think it should be Rodrigo Goes? But I've given you my view that I do think overall, when you factor in all considerations, I think for me, the decision would boil down to Eberechi Eze. I'm better off with what I've seen already in the Premier League experience, as opposed to, taking the bet on Rodrigo Goes, especially given the significance of the kind of season that Arsenal are heading into, especially with under Mikel Arteta, when we know he's fallen short over the last 3 seasons, only finishing second in the Premier League, and he needs to get things over the line. So do let me know what your views are down in the comment section. But also, if you're new to the channel, please do consider subscribing to the channel. And I'll see you guys next time. Stay blessed and have a wonderful new month. Bye-bye.